Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Corey Johnson, and welcome to Relationship Management. Today's topic is going to be about oppression. The word oppression is prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment or control. Some similarities or similar sentences is called like a mental pressure or distress. Lots of people goes through oppression. That's why they would ask for prayer or seek others to pray for them, or they will go to counseling or a mental therapist. It's very important to talk about it, your oppression situation with someone, but they have people that don't give a fuck and don't want to hear what you got to say. They'd rather to say, oh, I don't want to be around Corey, or I don't want to be, involved with hearing this shit. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. And they will like a gaslight you, a ghost you, ignore you, and have the cruelty of not just caring about you. And a lot of these fake Christians, they show you that they hate you. Lionel Richie songs say Jesus is love, but a lot of these Christians, which are fake, and I call all of you fake because you don't show love when people are suffering. You just sit up there and just let them suffer. You don't even put a like to their videos. You don't even put a hug to their videos or nothing. You just let them suffer. Well, I'm here to teach the world a secret that you don't have to keep pain bottled up inside of you. Pain is another word for demons. You have to release it by either speaking to a person about it. If a person don't want to be bothered, you can go speak with a counselor. If you don't have any insurance and you can't afford a counselor, you know what I mean? You make videos like me and talk about it because it got to be released. So that means nothing can stop you from releasing them demons. People can't stop you, from releasing them. And that's how you get your healing. Whether somebody want to help you to heal or not. You can heal yourself by making videos and speaking up about what has happened to you in your past, understand? In the current situations. You have that right to talk about it. Oppression is a systematic and cruel exercise of power by a dominant group, resulting in the unjust treatment, subjugation, and denial of basic rights and freedoms to a less powerful group or individual. This treatment is not a single incident, but a persistent system of laws, policies, and beliefs that disempower certain people while favoring others. I'm going to speak to the world about parents that will reject you or neglect you, and they will not believe you, when you try to tell them something. You know, it's very important that you will speak about your parents if they're mistreating you. Because if you don't speak about it, you know what I mean, that oppression is going to tear you up alive. It can make you crazy. It can make your mental health worse and make you wind up doing very, very bad things that you regret. So it's good to speak about it, you know, but you have to, you know, and a lot of parents don't have understanding, specifically, you know, mothers. A mother will tell you, I respect your peace and stay away, you know what I mean, by not calling you and stuff like that, because what you say to me, you make a mother don't want to have anything to do with you. Okay, you know, but what the mother failed to realize is, you know, the mother is saying that, you know, how I disappear, you know what I mean, for long, long periods of time, you know what I mean. And the way she explained it is very painful to her. I know it must be very, very painful, you understand? But the Bible said my people are destroyed by lack of knowledge, you know, so she's destroyed by lacking of knowledge. The reason why I backed off and ghost her, you know what I mean? I don't want to be around her. It's because she's being an unfair person. You know, she is lying to others about my pain and suffering. You know what I mean? Whenever I was a child, you know, I made a video and put it on her page to try to warn the church members to not to, you know, trust my uncle, because he's a pedophile. He has a history of, you know, not just sexually abusing me, but his wife needs also, and I'm afraid that, you know, your children are in danger. You know what I mean? My mother blocked my video. She deleted my video. That means that she wants my uncle protected. She called my uncle her pastor. You know what I mean? That she don't want people to know the truth about him. She rather for her pastor to have the ability to be able to keep on harming children. And that's a form of sex trafficking. You are allowing, you know, my uncle to be around children knowing that this crazy motherfucker is dangerous. And that's not fair, you know. And the reason why your son don't want to be around you is because you are telling your friends, you understand, to don't waste their time talking to me, because I am lying about what my uncle did to me. And you're telling your friends and all of my favorite cousins in the family members, that Corey is crazy. Don't believe nothing he say. That's why I don't want to be around you, because you are lying to them instead of telling the truth, you know. So therefore, you know, you are reading the Bible upside down. And somebody have told you that. I've witnessed someone tell you that when I was a child, and everything they said about you was the right. I mean, you are fake, you know. You call yourself a Christian and you read the Bible and you go to church, but you lying. And you got a son that's a grown-ass man, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to get help. I'm reaching out for help, and you're gonna sit your old ass up there and lie on me like that? That's a crying shame. And that's why, you know, I have to declare you as wicked. And the Bible says, stay out the path of the wicked, because you make me angry and you make you want to curse, because you are being unfair. You're sitting up there lying, you know what I mean? And you causing the family and your friends to disrespect me, you know what I mean, and block me out. you know, so that caused me to can't be able to grow, out of depression or oppression, because I have my own mother that's a hypocrite, that has betrayed me. You turned to a king cobra and bit me in my back, and you betrayed me for the pedophile. You decided to get on the team of your pedophilic brother instead of being on my team. You know what I mean? You had a chance to correct things in the past when it was current, but you didn't. You know what I mean? Even when I was a child back then, but when I became a man, he still lied in front of your face when he had his church on Phillip Street, and you still didn't stop going. You still wanted to keep going, supporting the devil. You know what I mean? So I'm teaching everybody all over this world, you know what I mean, that, mothers, just because a mother have that title, mother, that doesn't make her righteous. That doesn't make her a good person. You know what I mean? Because even Jesus had a problem out of his own mother. He had to tell his mother Mary, you speak of a foolish woman. I mean, he had to rebuke her because she was out the box, and a lot of these parents are out the box, and you have a right to stand up and rebuke your parent if they're wrong, because the Bible say openly rebuke is better than secrets of love. I'm gonna give you some key aspects of oppression. It's a systemic power dynamic. Oppression is built on an imbalance of power where one group has the ability to control or exploit others. Unjust treatment. It involves treating people with cruelty, unfairly, or in a way that causes them to suffer. The goal or result of oppression is to control, dominate, and subjugate a group, often by restricting their access to resources and freedom. Perpetual nature. Oppression is not temporary. It is a persistent condition sustained through ingrained beliefs, policies, and actions. It impact on that it have on individuals. The targets of oppression can experience negative psychological effects such as feelings of helplessness, low self-esteem, stress, and fear. What is oppressive behavior? Oppressive behavior is the systematic mistreatment of individuals or groups through the abusive exercise of power and authority, resulting in the suppression of their rights, freedom, or well-being. This behavior manifests in various forms, including subtle remarks and overt acts of cruelty, and can be embedded in institutional structures, laws, and social customs. Oppression affects entire groups of people, creating social hierarchies where some groups have more power, status, and opportunities than others based on characteristics like race, gender, class, and disability. There's lots of parents that don't believe in a child whenever the child will tell you that someone has sexually abused them. And I am gonna teach you responding to child sexual abuse. When a child tells an adult that they have been sexually abused, the adult may feel uncomfortable and may not know what to say or do. The following guidelines can be used when responding to children who say they have been sexually abused. What to say to the child? If a child even hints in a vague way that sexual abuse has occurred, encourage him or her to talk freely. Don't make judgmental comments. For number one, you have to show that you understand and take seriously what the child is saying. Child and adolescent psychiatrists have found that children who are listened to and understood share more and have less emotional problems than children who are dismissed or not believed. Responding without judgment to a child who is disclosing sexual abuse is very important to their healing from the trauma of sexual abuse. For number two, you have to assure the child that they did the right thing in sharing. A child who is close to the abuser may feel guilt about revealing the secret. The child may feel frightened if the abuser has threatened to harm the child or other family members as punishment for telling the secret. For number three, you have to tell the child that he or she is not to blame for the sexual abuse. Most children, in attempting to make sense out of the abuse, will believe that somehow they caused it or may even view it as a form of punishment for imagined or real wrongdoings. And for number four, finally, you have to offer the child protection and promise that you will promptly take steps to see that the abuse stops. Somebody might want to ask me a question. What to do then? What should I do? Okay, you have to report any suspicion of child abuse. If the abuse is within the family, report it to the local child protection agency. If the abuse is outside of the family, report it to the police. Individuals reporting in good faith are protected from legal prosecution. The agency receiving the report will conduct an evaluation and will take action to protect the child. Parents should talk with their pediatrician or family doctor, who may refer them to a physician who specializes in evaluating and treating sexual abuse. The examining doctor will evaluate the child condition and treat any physical problem related to the abuse. Gather evidence to help protect the child and reassure the child that he or she is all right. Children who have been sexually abused should have an evaluation by a child and adolescent psychiatrist or other qualified mental health professional to find out how the sexual abuse has affected them and to determine whether ongoing professional help is necessary for the child to deal with the trauma of the abuse. The child and adolescent psychiatrists can also provide support to other family members who may be upset by the abuse. While most allegations of sexual abuse made by children are true, some false accusations may rise in custody disputes and and other situations. Occasionally, the court will ask a child and adults and psychiatrists to help determine whether the child is telling the truth or whether it will hurt the child to speak in court about the abuse. When a child is asked to testify, special considerations such as videotaping, frequent breaks, exclusion of spectators, and and the option not to look at the accused make the experience much less stressful. Adults are always the ones to blame when they abuse children. The abused children should never be blamed, even if the abuser reports that the child agreed or consented. In situations where under 18 years has told the abuser that he or she consents, this does not make the abuse any less of a crime or any less damaging to the child. When a child tells someone about abuse, a supportive, caring response is the first step in getting help for the child and reestablish their trust in adults. Related facts for families. Find help for your child. You know, it's very important. For additional information, you can see and you can look up sexual abuse, the National Child Traumatic Stress Network, or the child sexual abuse. It's called the Centers for Disease Control. There's other things that can cause you to suffer from oppression, such as, the court system being weaponized against you. A lot of you parents all over this world, you have illegally lost your children, or your children have been illegally taken away from you, and President Trump is cracking down on the court system that, being weaponized against the citizens of the United States. They even tried to destroy the president of the United States before he became president. And there's situations where the parent do report to the court what happened, and the child been hang on her own and told you, that a certain person sexually abused her, and how he was hurt down there a lot, and she would be pointing to her vagina. He hurt me bad down there. He did bad things to me. Your children will come to you on your own. Yeah, some parents that are cowards, they don't even do anything. I report to the police. The reason why a lot of time the parents don't do nothing is because they know the court system will turn it on them and wind up taking their kids away from them. Here you've been and only, went to a clinic and got your daughter tested, for sexually transmitted disease, and reported it to the sheriff, and reported it to child protection, and reported to the judge, and then you would have, somebody in your daughter's family, like your daughter mother family would tell the court, that the father is lying, and they would, say, I would like to create a retaliation against this man for lying, saying that my granddaughter said something that I know that she didn't say. And what you would do is, you will gather your evidence. Get your cell phone and you will record your daughter telling you what the person has did to her. And next thing you know, um, they would have your daughter to go to like Cares Northwest, you know what I mean, to get evaluated by a psychiatrist, to have a one-on-one personal long talk, understand, with your daughter, and they would have her to draw a naked body and say point where the person hurt you, and all through the report, your daughter will be saying everything she told you and then some and a whole lot more. Understand? And whenever you be in court, you know, you will read that report. You know what I mean? Then you'll start taking pictures with your phone, you know what I mean, of the report. And then the judge will come to you, you know what I mean? Like, delete that out your phone. You don't can't take no pictures of that. You don't supposed to have that. You know what I mean? And you be like, well, why? I am the dad. You know what I mean? I reported, you know what I mean, what my daughter told me. I should have this as my personal record. And they will stand there and hover over your cell phone, make sure that you delete every picture that you have taken, you know. And whenever you provide the evidence of the video recording of your daughter telling you all the sexual things that the predator did to her, the court will ignore your daughter's cry and complaint and with the Cares Northwest, and they would throw that under the bus and start focusing on your evidence, which is your cell phone. And they will say that is coaching. And then they will file an immediate danger on you, you know what I mean, on the parent. And then they will say that the parent brain damaged your children and they take the kids away from you, and they'll put a no contact on you. And here you've been and had evidence, and you've been and showed the um the pedophile all online showing his dick and shit. You know what I mean? And with naked pictures of children and people having sex and stuff. And next thing you know, you up in court and you got the judge telling your daughter's grandmother, you know what I mean, that I um I have the evidence that he sent me, that the dad sent me, and I'm letting you know I did not look at nothing he had to send me. You know what I'm talking about? That's how the judge was. And that's how they would be. And then the dad would be in court with evidence on like a CD and try to give it to the judge, and the judge would still refuse to accept the evidence, you know, and stuff like that. It will make you have oppression, you know, and if you have similar situations that has happened to you where you need to go and get some mental therapy, it's very important, and it's very sad, because a lot of parents out here in this world that was sexually abused whenever there was a child, you make a vow to yourself that you are gonna make sure that that don't happen to your children, and then whenever you do the right thing and report to law enforcement and child protection, they will betray you, you know what I mean, and still take your kid away, your children away from you, you know. So, you know, oppression, it can't, and depression, it can't just, vanish and disappear, because stuff like that, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a permanent scar that can never go away. You know what I mean? Especially if you was robbed from being a parent to your child, mostly all of your life. Every time you turn around, your kids taken away from you. Now you destroy forever now, because your children are adults and it's not the same no more. There was They grow it up to disrespect you and to hate you. That's the way they was trained. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and have a good one. I spoke a little bit too fast. I was trying to get it exactly to 30 minutes, but I must say that the reason why your children have grown up to be disrespectful and hate you is because you have the ancestors and grandmother has poisoned their mind to lie, you know what I'm saying, to them and say your daddy, you know what I mean, was crazy or your mama was crazy, you know what I mean, and the court find him guilty and your daddy didn't want you. They'll say all kind of bad things to poison your children's mind against you. And whenever they do become adults, they don't call you, they don't be around you, and their mind are destroyed. Their mind are destroyed, and they was trained to grow up not respecting you and to hate you, and they don't want to be bothered with you, you know. And what makes you have impression is because hey, there's nothing you can do about it now. So it's either you're gonna keep all that bottled up in you, you know what I mean, and destroy your life. A lot of people they'll get on drugs behind it, but I didn't get on drugs, you know what I mean. And I thank God He kept me strong, you know what I mean. But what you can do is get some mental health, mental therapy. If you can't find a significant other to help you and to heal, well, you need to heal yourself and just go get some mental therapy and keep on talking about it. You got to keep on. It'll drive you crazy if you just keep it inside you and don't talk about it. You need to talk about it some kind of way. That's how you're going to get your healing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a good one and you take care.